Dominic King reported last night that, Shaqiri's kind of tempted by a move to Newcastle if the takeover happens, which is a whole different story in itself. We covered it a couple of weeks ago. That's in itself hanging on a balance, on a thread, whether that's going to actually happen. And there's loads of clubs that are opposing. There's TV companies that are opposing as well. One of being, Richard Keys, who's, never short to vent his opinion. But it's interesting because Shaqiri's been linked, Coutinho's been linked. I think it was John Stones, Ross Barkley, and stuff like that. It is kind of starting to gather motion, but just in Shaqiri and himself, I don't put words in your mouth, but I don't think I blame him if he wanted to go.
I've said this on the news earlier. I think Shaqiri would be a brilliant signing for Newcastle if they do get that takeover. This is a very good step forward in the right direction. He's a player that won't cost them too much to start with, a player that would want to join in the project, and he's a player with Champions League experience at a top club and at a top level, and not just at Liverpool. He's done Bayern as well, of course, and other clubs. So, I think it would be a very good signing for Newcastle. I really do, and it's good for them that you've got a player like Shaqiri who's obviously very interested in what happens there, and I'm sure if the takeover happens, he'll be a player that wants to be a key figure in that Newcastle side that will be evolving, and it's going to be interesting. I think Shaqiri will move on this summer. We've seen this season there's not an abundance of game time for him now, and whether it's been injuries or just the fact that he's just out of favour at Liverpool this season. So I think Newcastle at this point in time is more his level. We've seen with moments like the United game last season where he got Jose Mourinho sacked. We've seen with moments like that he's a quality player, a world-class player, and when he's fit and firing, he'll be perfect for a team like Newcastle. But when you're talking about Liverpool and the level we're at right now, when we're thinking of upgrading our squad, he's a player that you want to upgrade instantly, and Timo Werner would be a perfect upgrade on him.
Yeah, it's almost the perfect time to sell Shaqiri, isn't it, George? You think of Newcastle, if the takeover happens again, the amount of money that they're going to have, like Jack says, the quality team, great support, and all that stuff. But if the longer he stays at Liverpool, and his chances of game time diminish, like Jack says, particularly if you get Timo Werner in, his value's just going to decrease. So if he's had all this experience, whatever reason, we'll try and talk through in a minute, it hasn't worked out for him. He's probably at his peak value, whatever's gone with the coronavirus. So it's probably a good time to sell him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with Shaqiri now, you've still got the ability to kind of remember him pulling off kind of stuff, especially the kind of game against Barcelona and other United.
The derby as well.
You've still got that in kind of freshish in your memory. You know what he can produce, and what. So I think if he was to stay for another season or even halfway through, I think it just gradually dwindle, and you wouldn't be able to see him kind of or see him starting as kind of an impact kind of star player. Whereas I think now, if he was to go to Newcastle, be a similar role, like we said, he was at Stoke, of kind of being that star player, but possibly surrounded by a lot better players than he was at Stoke, and having that potential to kind of have a push with a team that's growing and that's new and things like that. And I think, like you said, I think he'd be a brilliant signing for them.
As a footballer, Georgia, I suppose it depends on the individual, but you say he can go and be the main man, he can go do this. But, he's at Liverpool, he might not be getting as much game time as he likes, but he's surrounded by world-quality players. He's winning stuff, he's gathering medals, he's playing Champions League football, he's travelling the world and all that stuff. Does it come to a point, do you think, in his mind where he just goes, actually, Newcastle might be, a new project, a better perspective, potentially more money. If they're getting taken over, they might be spunking money left, right and centre at him.
Yeah, I think it comes to a point where it's where he is at his career, and it's similar what we kind of about with Curtis Jones. It's good for development and it's good for this, but I imagine Curtis Jones in 2-3 years' time will want to be playing first team football regularly, and it's similar for Shaqiri. He's on the opposite end of it's time for him to be playing regular football at a club, because he won't have much time left after that to be. You look at the role James Milner plays at the moment, that I don't see Shaqiri wanting to play that role right now in his career. I think he's still got 2-3 years left in him to be a starting 11. And yeah, I think you do have to sacrifice kind of the world class and the facilities and the chance to play Champions League football and all that sort of stuff at Liverpool. But it's a new challenge at Newcastle. I mean, you don't know what their aims are. They may be pushing for European football in 2 years. They may be pushing for a cup run, things like that. To have that challenge and kind of step in and being an underdog for once again, it might be something that he's really interested in.
Yeah, Jack, where do you think it's all gone wrong for Shaqiri? Because I know we can just speculate about this, but there's so many stories of he wasn't fit. There was the stuff like he wasn't tracking back, so Klopp wasn't happy with him. He didn't fit a 4-2-3-1. Constantly, for guys who's got thighs that are bigger than my house, to constantly have calf muscle injuries or leg injuries and stuff like that. And then he was injured, and then he came back and he had a hair transplant. And everyone's like, what is going on here? Where has it gone wrong for him, do you think?
It's very interesting with Xherdan Shaqiri because there's no doubt in his ability. He's a fantastic player, but I think he was always a bit out of favour at Liverpool anyway. And it was, him working at a level to get better than he already is. We got him on a bargain for 12 million. He was always going to be a squad player. And for a squad player to be to not be fit a lot of the time only puts them even more out of favour. I think that's been Xherdan Shaqiri's problem. I think when he does play, you can tell that although he's a good player, he's not a Klopp player. He's not. I'm talking about Timo Werner, who fits the system perfectly, but I don't think Shaqiri really does. His versatility helps, of course. He can play in numerous different positions, but I don't think we're the same team with him on the pitch, in all honesty. But that being said, he's had some fantastic moments for us, and I think it has been luck, a lot of it in terms of him getting game time, because there's a lot of time when you've seen players get injured and you think, if Shaqiri was fit, he would have done well there. Maybe he'd have got more game time, a run of games. You just don't know. So I do think luck does go into it, but there's been numerous different things with Shaqiri, in all honesty. But I think, like you said, it's very interesting because we got him on a bargain. We got him for 12 million, and now we're in a situation where he's not played much all season, but we could get probably double the price for Shaqiri. We could get 20-25 million out of him. So I think at this point in time, there's no question that we should really be looking to move Shaqiri on.
Yeah, do you agree with that, George? Because it's almost like Jack said, he's a squad player. He's almost surplus to requirement, isn't he? In the sense of I can think of loads of times where, one of the front three were absolutely goosed. And you're thinking, like Jack says, well, Shaqiri will start this game. And he's either on the bench or he's not there at all. So it almost feels like Klopp goes, well, I'd rather go with a 70% Mo Salah at the time than a, 80, 90, 100% Xherdan Shaqiri, which almost felt a bit strange. Like Jack says, the ability's there to what he's got. But maybe, I don't want to dismiss him because Jack said, he's played for Inter Milan, he's played for Bayern Munich, he's played for some top clubs in Europe, and whether Stokes affected his mentality or his motivation to kind of play football and push himself and do different things, he's definitely affected his chances of starting games. And you got to see, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, youngsters that are starting games ahead of him should not be the case for someone of his quality.
Yeah, I think that's kind of hit the nail on the head of the idea of a squad player. Your whole mentality and your whole thing that should be the most important is being fit and ready to go whenever. You should be able to, the night before you get a call up that someone's injured, you're straight in there. I don't think that reliability was ever quite there with Shaqiri. It was almost he had the fitness of a starting 11 player who's playing every game of the season, but he was on the bench for most of them. So you can't really, you can speculate on why that is, or mentality or things like that, but I just think the top and tail of it was he wasn't ready when he needed to be. And a lot of other players who were possibly more hungry, like Sir Curtis Jones and things, were always kind of making sure that they were ready and kind of firing on all cylinders to go. I think with Shaqiri, if he does move on, I mean, we spoke about him, I think it was Galatasaray who were interested in him the other week. If he went abroad again, that's great. And I think the rare thing is I don't think any Liverpool fans would be too hurt or too bothered.
I'll push him up, yeah.
Another Premier League club, I think, which is quite rare. I think he could go to pretty much any Prem club, and Liverpool fans, when he does come back and he plays against them, would welcome him because he's done his job, he's done his shift. He just didn't live up to everything that we wanted. But at the same time, it wasn't like he was a complete flop or anything. There was just a lot of room, potential.
Jack, does it feel like it was, in hindsight's a wonderful thing, excuse me, this was more of a reactive signing than a proactive signing? It's not so like someone Liverpool actually wanted, but maybe they thought, good player experience, Premier League experience, European experience, cheap, and you mentioned yourself there, his value at Liverpool will only ever go up, so we sell him for double the price. Like, it doesn't really do any harm. It's like we rely on him to be in the first team and the pressure's on him and stuff like that. You know, it actually feels like a really good piece of business if he does go.
Absolutely, I had no expectation of Xherdan Shaqiri when he came. I thought it was a weird signing at the time, but from a marketing point of view, you can now absolutely see why. You know, he's been a good squad option when he's come in. He's been very reliable and he's done the job. You know, you talk about that Barcelona game, and he was on that pitch that day. That's something to go. Oh, he played that game. He got an assist. He was one of the players that maybe he was one of the worst of Liverpool players on that night, but he still put in a good performance, and you know that's just what Xherdan Shaqiri's done whilst he's been at Liverpool. I do think that if he goes to another Premier League club, he's the sort of player that will come back and hurt you, because he's got a lot of talent. He's a very, very good player. It's just whether he fit our team, and it's looking at it now, and it's thinking from a Jurgen Klopp point of view. Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, they're more appealing to put in the starting lineup and play in games like Everton, in the derby and cup games and stuff like that than Xherdan Shaqiri is. It's as simple as that. So it's very interesting, but I do think we've done a brilliant job with Xherdan Shaqiri. We've got the game time out of him. We've got them memorable, brilliant moments that we'll remember and will increase his transfer value. So now move him on and let him continue with the rest of his career, and hopefully he doesn't come back and bite us.